I'm Lanikia, and you're watching What Happened on the Soaps. This is Monday, June 27, 2022, and this is the Days of Our Lives edition. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it a 7. It was solid. It was solid. It was solid. All right, so who do we start with first? Let's go to Lucas. And it was a lot of tears on this episode, but I get it. Let's go to Lucas and Kate. So Kate visit Lucas, and the room is still a mess. He hasn't straightened up yet. And she said, "What happened here?" And so he lets her know that the reports were saying that Abigail was murdered, and they think it was a robbery and the jewelry. So he was looking around. She said, "You think you would find the jewelry here?" So he was just looking around, thinking like, "If I find the jewelry here, that means I did it. But if I didn't, then it's a possibility, great possibility that I didn't do this." And so she starts telling him that she's concerned about him because he says he wants to marry Sammy. And she says, "Your obsession with Sammy is like Philip with Chloe." And he was like, "Are you comparing me to Philip? Like he had a mental breakdown." And she was like, "No, he's just getting help because he went to a dark side, um, trying to be with Chloe. And so, Lucas is like, "I'm gonna be fine," but he's bawling, he's crying, because he's saying, if I did something to Abigail, I just could not live with myself. I loved her, she loved me, and if knowing that I could possibly have murdered her or hurt her in any way, he was like, I just don't believe I would do that, and if I did do that, I couldn't take it. I wouldn't be able to take this. And so, he just wants her blessing. I'm not gonna hold you long on this soap. He just wants her blessing to be able to marry Sammy, and she gives it because she loves him. Um, she's concerned. She's concerned, and because Lucas seems to be spiraling, like he feels guilty because he did kidnap Sammy. So it's not like she's truly his. He caught her on that the whole EJ kidnapped me, so I'm gonna go to you because you wouldn't do that or whatever. That's how he kind of won her over. So he says, "I'm gonna make it up to her and be a good husband to her. I'm gonna do this and that." And Kate said, "That's all you can do." And so she leaves. And so Lucas, he's just upset, but he's just looking forward to his future with Sammy. He thinks all that'll make it worthwhile. So speaking of Sammy, we see that she is over to um EJ's place, and EJ and Bill are about to go upstairs, because they're finally ready to make the next move in their situationship. And so Sammy comes in and she says, there's the doorbell rings and Bella's like, "Ignore it." He said, "No, it could be the police." So he goes ahead and he answers the door, and it's Sammy, and she comes in and she was like, "Wait, Belle, what are you doing here?" So Belle explains everything about why she's there, about Sean, her whole situation with Sean. But Sammy is just like, "But okay, so why didn't you go to mom's?" And she said, "Well, Jan convinced her mom to be her psychiatrist." And she said, "A therapist." And she said, "Oh, okay." She said, "But like there was no hotels or anything." And I'm like, "Sammy, girl, like what's wrong with you? Like, why do you care so hard?" But anyway, so EJ said, "Well, she's not just my lawyer. We've grown close. Like, she's my friend." And she said, "Well, she did get you off for kidnapping me." And he said, "I did not kidnap you, Sammy. The conviction was overturned and all that stuff, and I was blackmailed. Not blackmailed, but I was framed and everything." But she says, "Nobody will ever convince me that you didn't do it," and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not going to hold you long. EJ just said, "You know what? You want to be an idiot." Well, EJ said, "Why are you rushing this?" Because he was like, "I got a lot of stuff on my plate. I'm dealing with Abigail's death. It was something else he told her. He was dealing with Abigail's death and all that." He was like, "I have a lot of stuff on my plate." And she was just like, he said, "Can't this wait?" And she said, "No, it can't. It can't wait." Well, no, he said, and Sean having the baby and all that. She was like, "No, it can't wait. I want the divorce because Lucas asked me to marry him." And he was like, "You gonna marry a kidnapper?" She said, "He did not kidnap me. That was you or whatever." And he was just like, "You know what? If you want to be an idiot, be my guest. And he signed them divorce papers. And Sammy was like, oh, like, what did you expect him to do? You thought it was going to be a long out, drawn out process? No, he said, I know I didn't kidnap you, so I don't have to keep defending myself over this. But I know Lucas did, so do what you got to do. Go ahead and marry him. You're going to find out or whatever. And so um, he signed the divorce papers, and then Sammy goes to the door, and she said, well, no, 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 okay, don't open the door for me. But you're going to have to close it. He said, okay. I said, well, girl, you the one trying to rush out. But y'all could have opened that door for Sammy. And so then EJ is just like, whoop. I almost feel sorry for Lucas having to deal with that, but he was like, so let's get started let's start where we left off. Let's continue where we left off. And Belle said, EJ, what are you doing? I said, EJ, I know you didn't think you was going on, but Belle, he did tell her no, so what's your problem? But I get it, girl. So then we see that okay, so then we go to Chad, right? So Chad is at Marlena's. Marlena comes in, he tells her, he told the kids, he said, Thomas understands. But Charlotte does not. She just keeps asking when's her mama coming home. And so Marlena was like, I'll talk to him because she's dealt with this. And so she goes to talk to him, and Chad and John talk, and John tells him about Isabella and how she's the love of his life. She was the love of his one. He loved her and everything, but she died of cancer, and he got to hold her in the arms and say his goodbyes. And Chad said that's the difference. Like, I didn't get to tell her goodbye. And so John said, well, what was y'all last moments? And he said, we were supposed to be going on a trip to Boston. He said, but it was gonna be so much work. What, I understood what Chad was saying because even with me and my little one, when people like, I can't just pick up, like I could, but I don't like to just pick up and just go, because it's like you got to pack everything. You got to remember not to forget anything. You got to pack for yourself. You got to pack for them. It's a lot. So I get why Chad said, let's go in the morning. And he said, Abigail told him, what's another day? And we did see this scene and everything. He said, but turns out, look what happened by them not going ahead and leaving, he feels like, and everything. And so John said, but what was your last words to her? And he said, she told me she loved me, and I told her I loved her too. And he was just like, it was the look she gave me, and John said, and John is just like, remember that, get closure from that. Cause he said, she just loved me, and he's left with regret. And, he took her love. He feels like he took it for granted that she was just going to be there. And we all do that in life. We all take for granted just that, knowing that person is going to be there, knowing, just assuming we're going to wake up tomorrow, assuming no accidents or anything, or we won't receive bad news. We just assume life is going to be the way it always is, day in and day out, and everything. So now, knowing what he knows now, he would have loved her more. He would have took advantage of just the time they had together more and everything. So Marlena comes out, and she tells him that Thomas, he's good. She said, Charlotte, asked her, is my mommy really dead? And she said, yes. I told her yes. And then she said, Charlotte was like, okay. And she cried, and Marlena held her and she rocked her. She said, then Charlotte was like, no, mommy's coming back. Mommy's coming back. And she went to play. And so Chad is like, I'll go talk to her. And Marlena said, it's almost their bedtime. He said, I'm gonna go get him. And she said, it's almost their bedtime. They're playing. Let them stay. And he was like, no, I don't want. And John is all emotional and stuff. And he's like, no, just let them stay. And he said, okay, thank y'all. And then Chad, they tell Chad, you can stay too. He was like, no, I don't want to impose, but they like, Chad, stay. Like, John and they're like, stay. And so he's like, okay, thank y'all so much. Like, he needs to be around them right now. And so he stays. And that was it with them, y'all. But it was just a real touching scene between him and John, and how emotional, it was, and the support that John was giving him. And John could understand. He didn't lose his wife by murder, but he could understand, you love that spouse, you love that partner, and you look at your future, and they're not going to be there anymore. You know what I mean? So he told John, I don't, because John started off by saying, people were trying to tell me they understood, they wanted to, try to encourage me or whatever. He said, but they didn't, they really hadn't been through it, so I want to hear from him. He said, John, I would never do that to you, because I know what it feels like to look into the future and know you're not going to have that partner there. All right, guys. So then we go to girl Rafe and Nicole. So Nicole come in with this lunch and all that. And Rafe is sitting at his desk working, and he looking over the Abigail's papers. He was like, I thought I would find something. He said, I'm not finding anything. And because he's the lead investigator and everything, he's like, I'm not finding anything. And so he asked Nicole, what she been up to? Was she at work? And she said, no, I actually went to Abe, and Abe's wedding. It was about love and just the future and happiness. It was nice to be at. And she said, but then the reception got interrupted with Lonnie. He said, yeah, I just got the papers for Lonnie. He was like, man, I'm sad that happened with them or whatever. And so she tells him it's okay for the, she's cool with them postponing, because you say you got a lot going on. And he said, is that the only reason you want to postpone, like the wedding and all that kind of stuff? And I said, did I miss something? I'm not gonna hold you long on this. And the next thing we know, because I'm just not gonna hold you long. The next thing we know, Roman has been talking to Eric, and he been telling Eric, I know you want Nicole. He said, you need to take a page out of your out of Sammy's book. And he said, broke leg, broke foot, limping or whatever, she gonna get what she want. I said, Roman, don't talk about that girl like that. But so then we see that Eric all dressed up and looking nice and stuff, knocking on the car door. And she said, Eric, what are you doing here? And she looking back. I said, here come Rafe. And so she looking back, and she said, this isn't a good time. And he was like, I had to tell you something. He was like, and then Rafe comes up with champagne and all that. He said, are you guys celebrating something? And they said, yeah, we got married. And Eric looking like, what? Oh, okay. And Rafe like, yeah, we got. I don't know why I don't like Rafe, y'all. I don't know why I don't like Rafe. I don't know what it is about him. But he like, yeah, we got married or whatever. And Eric was like, congratulations. Well, I'm gonna get out y'all way so y'all can celebrate. And Nicole is like, okay. Now Nicole, when she was talking to Rafe earlier, she had a flashback to Eric and what Kate was saying and everything. Nicole I'm sorry, she let Rafe rush her into getting married to prove that she was over Eric. That's all this was. She was trying to prove that no, I'm not still wanting Eric, and everything. Isn't it weird? Like I be looking up, because I look at my videos and I'll be like, girl, but I be looking it up because it's like I could see the scene happening. It's so weird. But anyways, so I said, Nicole and Rafe are winning. Got married. Eric, you waited too late. You should have told this girl how you was feeling about her. I said, dang, now you gonna make the ex-priest cheat. Because that's exactly what's finna happen. Rafe, I don't know why you rushed this girl into marriage, because all she finna do is cheat on you with Eric. But that was Days of Our Lives today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Even if you don't subscribe, that's okay. I'll still be doing these videos, but hit that like button for me. All right, I'll see you guys on another episode. Girl, I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. Bye.